Hello there! Today I'm going to talk about Season 2 of Battlestar Galactica. This video follows my recap video of Season 1. I made a playlist of Battlestar Galactica related videos for your convenience, so feel free to check it out. Alright, here we go. Season 2 of Battlestar Galactica opens with Commander William Adama at his most physically vulnerable, recovering from an assassination attempt by someone he trusted. Sharon Boomer Valerie, a soldier he treated like family, shot him point blank, revealing herself as a Cylon sleeper agent. This act does more than wound him. It shatters the illusion of stability within the fleet and forces Adama to confront the grim reality of an enemy that looks and feels human. As Adama heals, both in body and in spirit, he must also reckon with a fractured fleet. President Roslin has gone into hiding with several ships, and Adama's own son, Lee, has taken her side. In response, Adama initially doubles down on military authority, focusing on restoring control through force. But over time, he comes to understand that leadership based solely on discipline is brittle. He softens, reconciles with Roslin, and reclaims his role not just as a commander, but as a moral center for a people adrift. This evolution in Adama's character is tested and deepened with the dramatic arrival of the Battlestar Pegasus and its commander, Admiral Helena Kane. Pegasus is a mirror, one that reflects the darker possibilities of survival without conscience. Kane runs her Battlestar with absolute authority, practicing ruthless efficiency and showing no hesitation in using torture, execution, and intimidation to maintain order. To Adama, she represents a terrifying version of himself, a leader who has sacrificed humanity in the name of victory. The tension between Adama and Kane is one of the most defining moments of Season 2. For the first time, Adama must answer not just to a superior officer, but to a worldview that challenges his core principles. Their standoff over the fate of Pegasus officers and the Cylon prisoner Sharon Agathon escalates into a near-civil war between the two Battlestars. Adama's choice to resist Kane's orders, to stand for justice and restraint in the face of brutality, marks a turning point. He risks everything not for tactical gain, but to defend the moral soul of the fleet. Season 2 finds Lee Adama drifting between identities: military officer, son, rebel, and moral compass. In Season 1, he was often caught in the gravitational pull of others, torn between loyalty to his father and his conscience, between duty and personal belief. In Season 2, these tensions deepen, and Lee begins to chart a more independent, often painful path through the heart of a collapsing world. In the first half of the season, Lee's defection alongside President Roslin marks a defining choice. He sides with civilian leadership over his father's chain of command, motivated by principle rather than politics. It's a betrayal in Adama's eyes, but to Lee, it's a necessary act of defiance, an assertion that the military must serve democracy, not control it. This fracture with his father is not just strategic, but deeply emotional, and it shapes the fragile reconciliation that follows. When the fleet reunites, Lee returns to Galactica with more skepticism and less certainty, now carrying the scars of choosing ideals over kinship. But it is the arrival of the Battlestar Pegasus that truly alters Lee's arc. Lee is given command of the Pegasus's air group, a promotion in name, but one that leaves him in a morally hostile environment. Lee is confronted by officers who torture, execute, and dehumanize. His discomfort is immediate. He doesn't belong here, not among those who view civilian law and ethical conduct as relics of a dead civilization. It's here that Lee undergoes one of his most important internal shifts. No longer content to simply follow orders or echo the righteousness of others, he begins to develop his own command style, measured and ethical, even in the face of overwhelming violence. His opposition to Admiral Kane's brutal policies isn't loud, but it is unwavering. And when the standoff between Pegasus and Galactica nearly explodes into mutiny, Lee remains a figure of calm and control. A man trying to find sanity in a war that keeps rewriting the rules. Yet Season 2 doesn't let him walk away untouched. The trauma of the Cylon War, the betrayal within the fleet, and the cost of moral clarity weigh heavily. Lee grows increasingly isolated, struggling with depression and detachment. In a quiet, almost suicidal moment, he floats adrift in space after a mission, lingering in the void longer than he should. Lee is no longer the golden son, the idealist, or even the rebel. He's a man who has seen too much and felt too little in return. His promotion to Pegasus's XO feels hollow, not a reward, but a sentence. Surrounded by ghosts, burdened by impossible choices, Lee has transformed into something colder, more detached. The war has taken something vital from him. Perhaps not his integrity, but certainly his hope. Early in the season, Starbuck's mission takes her away from the fleet and back to the surface of Caprica, the devastated colony she once called home. There, among the ruins, she is forced to confront the consequences of war, not as a soldier in a cockpit, but as a survivor on the ground. The empty cities and radioactive skies are haunted with memories, but it is on this desolate landscape that something unexpected happens. She begins to build a new kind of bond. Enter Sam Anders, a former professional athlete turned resistance fighter. Sam is unlike anyone Kara has ever known. Unpolished, brave, and genuine in a way that disarms her. Their relationship is raw and spontaneous, born out of desperation and adrenaline, but also rooted in an unspoken understanding between two broken people trying to find meaning amid the ashes. With Sam, Kara experiences something she rarely allows: vulnerability, and through that, a hint of what home might feel like. But Caprica is no refuge. The Cylons are everywhere, and Starbuck's journey turns darker when she is captured. Imprisoned and experimented on, she endures psychological torment and physical violation. The Cylon attempts to manipulate her, both emotionally and physically. It is a profound violation of self, a moment where even Starbuck's immense resilience begins to crack. She survives, but she does not escape unscarred. Her time in captivity reinforces her deepest fear, that she is not in control, and never was. Karl Agathon's journey begins on the ruins of Caprica, where he was left behind in Season 1 and survived alone for weeks. It was there that he met Sharon Valeri, a copy of the same Cylon who served on Galactica, the same model who shot Commander Adama. But this Sharon is different. She helps him, protects him, and ultimately reveals the unthinkable. She is carrying his child. For Helo, love and trust aren't abstract ideals. In a war defined by division and deception, Helo insists that identity is not destiny. When the two of them return to Galactica, the reception is brutal. Sharon is imprisoned and reviled. Helo is mistrusted, labeled a traitor in spirit if not in fact. But he never wavers. He defends her dignity, not out of blindness, but out of a fierce conviction that the lines between human and Cylon are more blurred than anyone wants to admit. Colonel Tigh is thrown into the spotlight, an uncomfortable position for a man who was never meant to lead. As Commander Adama's oldest friend and second in command, Tigh has long operated in his shadow. Trusted, irritable, reliable in a crisis, but unpolished and impulsive. When Adama is shot and incapacitated, the burden of command suddenly falls to Tigh, and his leadership is quickly tested. Not by the Cylons, but by his own limitations. Tigh is a man of the old guard, shaped by war, loyalty, and addiction. He has always been blunt, combative, and fiercely loyal to Adama, but when given authority over the fleet, his flaws begin to widen into cracks. His decisions are erratic. He declares martial law. He antagonizes the civilian government. His temper shows at every corner, and his distrust of President Laura Roslin becomes obsessional. What emerges is not a natural leader, but a man trapped in the role. A soldier trying to command a society on the edge of collapse, with only battlefield instincts and alcohol to guide him. Nowhere are Tigh's struggles more visible than in his marriage. Ellen Tigh, who reappears early in the season, injects a toxic volatility into his already unstable world. Their relationship is dysfunctional, codependent, and fueled by manipulation and lust. Ellen is flirtatious, self-serving, and deeply embedded in the political games of the fleet. She encourages Saul's worst impulses, whispering in his ear like a devil on his shoulder. Yet, despite her destructive influence, Tigh clings to her. Tigh's time as acting commander is marked by missteps, culminating in violent crackdowns on civilian ships, and a near-total breakdown in military-civilian relations. His use of force, driven by fear and frustration, only deepens the divide. But beneath his failures lies something more tragic than incompetence. A man who wants to do right but doesn't know how. Tigh doesn't seek power. He's crushed by it. His loyalty to Adama is sincere, and his efforts to hold the line are real, but he is fundamentally unsuited to the moral complexity of leading a fractured society in exile. When Adama returns to duty, Tigh is visibly relieved. The burden is lifted, but the damage is already done. He retreats to familiar patterns, yet something has changed. Tigh has glimpsed his own darkness. He has seen what he becomes when no one is there to stop him. At first glance, Baltar appears to flourish. He's elevated to political prominence, recognized as the leading mind behind the Cylon detector, and a crucial advisor to President Roslin. He carries himself with charm, intellect, and apparent confidence. But underneath the surface, he is fractured, haunted by guilt, driven by fear, and constantly whispering to someone no one else can see. That someone is Head 6, a hallucinated version of the Cylon woman he once loved and betrayed humanity for. Whether she is a delusion, a remnant of Cylon technology, or a divine messenger is never clear. Sometimes she is his conscience, other times his tormentor. She whispers promises of destiny, warns him of God's plan, and insists that their child, the half-human, half-Cylon baby carried by Sharon, is the future of both races. Baltar, torn between reason and madness, slowly begins to believe her. This belief doesn't make him righteous. It makes him dangerous. Baltar is narcissistic, reactive, and desperate to be important. As he starts to believe in Six's spiritual language, he begins to see himself as chosen. He shields Sharon's child, defies Roslin's moral authority, and eventually aligns himself with those who promise him power, even if their intentions are suspect. As the season progresses, Baltar's paranoia deepens. He is caught between his public role as scientist and leader and his private spirals into faith, hallucination, and fear. So that's it. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.